Good evening. I'm very glad to be here. I wish to thank to New York Hispanic Project and its director Claudio Remeseira and editorial Planeta. And I apologize for my awful English. When I was 10 years old, every night I used to read the pages of a big encyclopedia called Lo sé todo. That means I know everything. The articles in that book didn't follow any order at all. An episode dedicated to the Roman Empire would come after another on the invention of the X-rays or the description of everyday life at prehistoric time when a group of human beings were having a mammoth for breakfast. I would choose those articles about dinosaurs or great battles or mythology. It was there that I learned that in all ancient maps there was always a legend that should point to the final boundaries of the known world. Beyond this point, there are monsters. And that was the most interesting thing for me, as it has always been for every child, the moment when ordinary life ceases, and it's time for heroes, mad scientists, and monsters to come out. This is a story of world that fits for us, writers, not the real world, the real history of the world, but the world itself being changed by myth and legend. And if writers prefer this version, it is not because of our addiction to lies, but because of our firm conviction there is also a hidden truth in the process of transformation, in the reductions and the illusions of memory. This truth, for the purposes of literature, is more real than the dates of real battles or the number of ships that were destroyed by cannons. Myth and legends are not precise when they describe the world, but they are very precise describing us, men and women living in the world. I have never got rid of my affection to strange pieces of news, those forgiving episodes of history that seduce so much our imagination. One of my favorite books is a little one entitled The Strange World, a compilation of oddities in the style of Ripley's News. I could learn there, for example, that what Walter Raleigh's widow used to take everywhere in her bag the head of her husband preserved in salt, or else that in the street markets executioners were not allowed to touch any fruit. They should use a good stick to be able to point them out. Or also this scientific report, delicated as a haiku. Sea urchins see everything in yellow. In Spanish, the etymology of novela, novel, recalls novela, news. Fiction started in this way, out of rumor, the words of someone who tells about things he has never seen, and in a low voice, like a secret. Literature has always introduced herself as a way of sizing both the remote worlds, but also the everyday life and childhood. One of my favorite comic strips is Winsor McCay's Little Nemo in Samberland, which was always seemed to me a metaphor of the act of reading and writing. Every night, Little Nemo travels to remote worlds, but he never leaves his own bed. It accompanies him in his adventures. This is the way in which literature acts. It reaches the furthest, but it never abandons the closest, the most intimate. Argentine literature has found in fantasy the way of joining in the same story both universal and personal knowledge, the world of books and the world of our personal experience. In our literary tradition, there are a few books about memories, autobiographies, or diaries. In its place, we have fantastic tales, like the works of Borges, Julio Cortázar, Silvino Campo, Adolfo Bioy Casares. When a magical object appears, it means that something is hidden there that cannot be completely told. Magical objects are ways of getting back lost things, childhood, youth, love. In fantastic fiction, the same as in detective novels, the truth is hidden in the corners, in the traces, in the borders. Fiction is a big machine built so as to produce a moment of silence, the perfect silence that reveals us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.